Consistency is key. That's what you're missing. That's what we're missing. We're missing consistency in our routine. Can't start and stop and think you're going to go off and do great things. That's not the way this works. Success leaves clues. You can hear it from many different voices in many different ways, but the message is exactly the same thing. Consistency. You wake up, whether you feel like doing something or not, you do it. How do you build something great? It's because you're consistent at it. Everything you want is on the other side of you being consistent. It's consistent. It's a game of consistency. This is very difficult for most people. Most people start and stop everything. Get a little bit in shape, then we stop. Do a little bit of work in business, then we stop. Right? Push towards our goals a bit, then stop. That is how most people operate. Not us. Not us. If we want to go off and design our ideal life, we want to go off and do something great. We want to go off and build this life that you can only dream of, that no one around you has. You want time freedom. You want financial freedom. You want great relationships. You want all these things. It's on the other side of you being consistent. What do we have to do to stop starting and stopping things? You have to ask yourself that question. What is it that you need to do in order to stop starting and stopping? Do we have to get more emotionally intelligent? Do we have to get a little bit tougher skin? Do we have to get more mentally tough? Like, what is it that we have to do to just push through the pain, push through the uncertainty, push through the doubts, push through the worry? What do we have to do? You got to ask yourself that question, ladies and gentlemen. You got to ask yourself that question. I'm going to drop the link to the ET video, or the first video, in there. The other one was on TikTok. I don't even know where it is, but you can find it. That being said, in our text 177, Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class, number 15 says the world class is consistently great. Consistently great, right? This is a game of consistency, y'all. If there's anything to take from today's talk, if there's anything to take from today's message, it's consistency. That's what you're missing in any area, right? Here's what it says in the text. It says a lot of performers are capable of outstanding performance, but the great ones all have one thing in common: consistency. Say that again. But the great ones all have one thing in common: consistency. Day after day, they perform at the very highest levels. The reason they are so consistent is because their actions are congruent with their thought process. The reason they are so consistent is because their actions are congruent with their thought processes. We'll get back to that. Champions usually have a very clear mental picture of what they want, why they want it, and how to move closer to the target objective. While average people are complaining about the sacrifices they have to make to be great, the champions have already made those decisions and continue to move forward. Erratic performance is the result of erratic thinking. So the first step in mental toughness training is gaining mental clarity. Champions invest an inordinate amount of time planning and clarifying their goals and targets, as well as mapping out an exact action plan for attainment. Consistency in performance is the direct result of knowing why it is necessary to perform well and the benefits that will accrue, especially when the going gets tough and the pain sets in. Consistency is also created by practice. Woo, say that again. Consistency is also created by practice. You got to practice, y'all. Champions are usually thought of as people with the most talent, and sometimes this is true. Yet champions are known to invest large blocks of time practicing their craft long after everyone else has gone home. Practice may not make perfect, but it does create consistency in performance. Consistency. 2 points here that we're going to double click on, right? The reason they are so consistent, the reason people are consistent is because their actions are congruent with their thought processes. What you think, right? What the things you have in your mind, the things you want to make happen, your actions are in alignment with those things. Your actions are in alignment with the things you want. You want to be healthier. You want to lose weight. You want to, right, feel better. But yet we don't work out. We don't eat properly. We don't do the things for our body. That's the incongruency. The thought that you have and your actions are incongruent. What makes you, once you get clear on what you want, right? What makes you consistent is that your actions and your thought process are congruent. I want to be wealthy. I'm a good steward of my money now. I want to have a great relationship. I do all the things needed to continue to build intimacy within that relationship. Like your actions have to be congruent with your thought processes. I don't know who I was listening to, but I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about this, where it's like a lot of times we say things that are good ideas that we want to make happen, but we're not willing to make the sacrifices or do the things or take the actions necessary to get there. And at some point, we just have to be honest with ourselves. It's okay if that's just a good thought. But if you say you want this, then you have to bring your actions along the way. If you say you want it, but your actions never are congruent, then you just have to be honest with yourself that you really don't want that. It's a good idea. It would be nice to have, but you really don't want that. That's honesty with yourself, right? That's, as a mentor used to tell me, not buying my own BS, right? We are human beings. We buy our own BS. We make up our own stories. We justify, oh, this is what I want. But our actions don't align with that. So if you want to start to get consistent, you got to start there. One, having a clear vision, knowing what you want, but then bringing your actions along. The other sentence to double click on, it says erratic performance is the result of erratic thinking. Erratic performance is the result of erratic thinking. So what do we say? You change your thinking, you change your life. People had people say this to me in business, right? Business. You ever heard people say business is up and down, right? How's your business going? How's life going? Oh, business is up and down. Business isn't up and down. You're up and down. Your thinking is up and down. Your emotions are up and down. One day you're high, one day you're low. One day you love life, one day you're depressed. One day you're on top of the world, the next day you're filled with worry and fear and doubt. Your erratic thinking is what is making your life feel like it's up and down. Remember, if we change our thinking, we change our life. So if you're not happy with a performance, if you're not consistent in something, it's probably because you're not thinking consistently about what that outcome is. You're not thinking in the proper way. We're maybe being run a little bit more by our feelings, led a little bit more by our emotions, led a little bit more by, right, the deceiving nature of how we feel. That's why our performance, that's why the outcomes that we have are not consistent. So again, if we're going to practice consistency, ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to practice these things, because again, you can hear it from many different people, this is the key to your success in any area. Everything you want's on the other side of you being consistent for an extended period of time. Extended. That's why we're heading into a brand new year soon, right? We got another, 40 days or whatever it is to the beginning of the year. You're going to start to see the whole thing and people going back to the gym and New Year's resolutions and the whole nine. And what always happens is they cannot stay consistent. They cannot do something for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. Consistency is the game. And I get it. Easier said than done. I've struggled with it. There's always going to be areas that we're all learning and growing. But if you want to just attack or look at why you're not where you want to be financially, spiritually, emotionally, in your relationships, in business, if you just want to look at what the through line is to that, it's probably because you haven't been consistent. It's probably because you haven't shown up day after day, whether you feel like it or not, whether life is crazy or not, whether things are burning down around you or not, and just keep doing the work. Eric Thomas said it in the video, right? You got to just keep swinging at the tree, hitting the tree in the same exact spot over and over and over. You heard the guy on the TikTok say, right? The reason why most people don't do this is because it's going to be difficult and boring. That's not the way we live in society. That's not what the media sends you. That's not what social media sends you. They send you things that are exciting, that are enticing, that give you that dopamine hit. Yet everything that's going to be good in your life, everything that's worth building, is going to come on the back of it being difficult and or boring. It's it's the repetition, the routine of doing the same thing over and over and over and over until you master it. That's how you build consistency. That's how you become great. That's how you get to all your goals and dreams. It's through that process. So you have to look at yourself. You have to look at your life and figure out where are the areas that I've not been consistent. And then we got to start to get a mental vision, a picture of where we're headed. And then we have to just start being consistent. We have to change our thinking so our habits can change. Consistency is created by practice. If you practice something over and over and over again, you can be consistent at it. I started this call. Some of y'all jumped on a bit after. I started this call by talking about how much are we waking up and flooding our mind with gratitude. We've talked about it, but like what you focus on, you get more of. So if you want to feel more joy in your life, more happiness, right? Being grateful for more things, you want to be able to see it more. You have to practice, right? This is where consistency comes from. You have to practice flooding your mind with it. So every morning you wake up, first thing in your mind is not, I got to get the kids, my alarm, I'm late, it's, man, what am I grateful for? Man, I'm so grateful I woke up in a bed, so grateful I have food, so grateful I have a family, so grateful I have a sound mind, so grateful I have clothes, like whatever it is. So grateful I have a job, like whatever it is, like, can you focus on those things because you'll get more of it? More importantly, you'll become consistent in that. If you practice little things like that, you become consistent at it. And that's what this game is about. This is what it's about, to design your ideal life, to go off and build a life you don't need a break from. It is about consistency, y'all. It's about consistency. Here's what this quote says. It says, plenty of men can do good work for a spurt with immediate promotion in mind. But for promotion, you want a man to whom good work has become a habit. Everyone can do a little bit of work for a little bit of time. Everyone has that in them. They get a little excited, you get a little fired up, right? You get a little boost in your back, and you go do something for a week. You go do something for a month. You go do something for 2 months. But then eventually what happens? Life kicks in, distractions kick in. We're not as mentally tough as we need to be. Emotionally, something happens. We start thinking these attacks from the enemy are things that are roadblocks that have to slow us down and stop us. And we don't keep moving. We don't keep moving. This is what happens. And then the thoughts set in, and then the I'm not sure, and then the doubt, then the fear, then the work, because we stopped practicing. So we got to make it a habit. Where do our habits come from? They come from our thinking. They come from our thinking, right? When you start thinking a certain way, it changes your beliefs. When you have different beliefs, it changes your habits. If you believe something different about your health, you'll create a different habit. If you believed something different about your financial life, you would change your habits financially. If you believe something different about your business, you would act in your business differently. It's a thought process that changes the habits. The habits of consistency then come after that. The action step for today says to gain mental clarity and focus, create a written vision for your life. This is where it starts. Again, we're getting to the end of the year, beginning of a new year. A lot of people want to have New Year's resolutions and goals, but like I've told you this all throughout this year, if you don't know where you're headed, if you don't have a clearly written out vision, goals, like everything becomes difficult. So to gain mental clarity and focus, create a written vision for your life. If you haven't done that, start there. That's step one. You probably got to take some time away from people. You probably got to take some time off of social media. You probably got to take some time away from Netflix or television or music or something to stop downloading thoughts in you so you can sit with yourself and figure out where you're going. It says, imagine your life 5 to 10 years in the future and list all that you've done, accumulated, and become during this time. Use the letter to a friend format that was in his book. It says, write a letter to a friend, real or imaginary, and date it from 5 to 10 years in the future. Let your creative mind freewheel without any thought of how you will achieve any of these things. Be sure to include as many details and as much emotion as possible. When you have a world-class vision for your life, you take the first step to world-class performance. When you know where you're headed, when you're not confused, when you're not just trying to make it through the day, when you're not just trying to make it through the week, when you're not just trying to survive. You can't live in survival and thrive. You can't go after the life you want if you're just thinking about today and about this week and about next week. That's not how we get there. You have to have a vision of your life so that you can delay your gratification, so it'll give you the chance to take the first step towards being consistent. We have to practice this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We have to practice it. I know it's not always going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Anything that you go off and build, everything that you want to make happen is on the other side of consistency. And it's going to be worth it if you just work at this. You got to practice it. This is not like natural to do. It's natural to be comfortable. It's natural to start and stop. It's natural to, when we feel pain, to move away from it, to go back to whatever was more comfortable for us, whatever it was. This is the way our brain works. We have to rewire our brain. We have to rewire how we think of pain, how we think of what we need to do to be consistent. We have to rewire it. Take some work, but you guys can do it. I know you can. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. If no one ever tells you that, I will continue to tell you that. People are counting on you. They're counting on you to take in this information. They're counting on you to get better. They're counting on you to get more mentally tough, be more consistent, be more disciplined. They're counting on you. You should be counting on you to do the same thing. We just got to rewire some of these thoughts, y'all. It's possible. Go out there, do something that scares you this Monday. Do something that pushes you out of the comfort zone. Start something that will make you consistent, that your future self will thank you for down the line. You got another shot at it today, y'all. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Take care.